How are you doing today? I got asked a question how I made the vega snapmap. So in this video I'm just gonna go a little bit in depth in the game or in my map, and I'm gonna show you guys how I created this this map and what my solution was for the entire mechanism behind Vega says or Simon says. So yeah, I've not set anything up, I've not prepped anything, I'm just going in cold. We're gonna see where my thoughts are taking us. I hope by the end of the video I've explained a little bit how I initially created it and what my train of thought was on the little map. So if not, just let me know. Alright, so Simon Says, let's just refer to this game as Simon Says. Simon Says is a game where Simon says something, and Simon being a toy or a computer program or whatever. Anyway, Simon says something and you'll have to repeat after Simon. So if Simon says red, you'll repeat red. If Simon says red blue, you'll repeat red blue. To create this game, basically what you need to do when you program it out of the blue is you'll need to write a string, put a variable in that string, then read the string back, then when you come to the value in that string, you'll have to do something, and when you come to the end of the file, you'll give the turnover to the player. When the player is done, you'll just compare the two strings, the string that Simon or the computer has created and the file that or the input that the player has. You compare those two, and if those two match up, you win, or the player wins, and you'll go to another round, and if they don't match up, you lose and the whole game starts over again. So basically that's the entire structure behind Simon Says. I wanted to create this, and the way I created this was essentially like this. It's the hard mode of the game. So Simon says something, Simon says yellow, I shoot yellow. Simon says green, now I have to shoot yellow and green. That's why this is the hard mode. Simon says yellow, green, and I didn't pay attention, so it was incorrect. Doesn't really matter because I needed to go to the blueprint anyways. Okay, so the reason why I set it up like this is because I have not found a way. I don't know if there is a way. Probably isn't, but if there is, let me know. I haven't found a way to read some variables out of a string, and then based upon what I'm reading out of that string, do an action. I've not found out how I have to do that or how I could do that, and I don't think I can do it in SnapMap Editor, because basically I don't think it is made for that. So that's why I came up with this system. This is the first basic engine I created for Simon's or Vega Says. It is fairly easy, sorry, and it does a couple of things. In the beginning, it just displays some messages saying what you have to do, like welcome, remember Vega's entire sequence, and after Vega says blah blah blah. These are just the instructions for that part of the game. When those are done, I'm actually getting into the entire engine of it. I'm going to do a couple of things. At the start of the map, I'm setting a couple of things. I'm setting a string, and that string has a value of BOF. BOF, in my head, in my mind, in my little world of SnapMap, which is mine, I can create whatever I want, stands for begin of file. So I'm setting the string to begin a file. and then someone is hitting at the walls, I guess. And alright, it doesn't really matter. Then I'm also setting a damage string to begin a file as well. These are two things I need to set first. Alright, so these are the beginnings for the map. Now let me get back to the engine. I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to set a turn, and that turn starts off with turn 0. So let's just pretend this is a game we play. All right. So this is the part Vega or Simon does. So what Simon does is, or Vega does, sorry, it is setting a turn. It is currently 0 because we have not played it before. We are now starting the turn, and so the turn is becoming 1. So turn is 1. Then we're going to set a timer, and the timer initial value is 2, and we're going to add a second to that. So every round we play, there will be we'll add a second. So you have a second, or at least a second and 2 seconds. So we have 3 seconds to shoot every box we need to shoot. I could just leave it at 1, so you have to be very, very fast, but moving around shooting takes time, so yeah. So 3 seconds is more than enough time to hit the correct hit the correct box, and it is not so much time that you can just do. You just could slouch around like I don't have the time to write stuff down and read stuff and shoot it, because that takes too much time. 3 seconds is just enough time. At least I found out for myself that is just enough time. We'll get to these later, and then what we're going to do also is we're going to call upon a function called vega random. This is just a boolean which I use to create functions. Vega random, this is this function. It will be called there, and what it does is sets a random integer to a variable or integer right here. So basically what it does is sets a random value between 1 and 4 to my random number. That's all it does, and based on this number I'm setting the integer play sound, which I'm using to play sounds. So this number will become, let's just go through it one more time. This number has a random number, and it's going to become 1. Just for all purpose, say 1. So 1 random is 1, then play sounds will become a random number, so it becomes 1 again. So play sound is 1, random is 1. We're going to call upon the function play sounds, which is this function here, and basically the only thing this does is compares a couple of integers. So if play sound is 1, which it is, it's gonna do this, play the sound red. If it is 2, green. If it is 3, blue. And if it's 4, yellow. So basically it's just a compare function, and based upon what the value is, it's gonna do stuff. It's also gonna set a string color, and it's gonna set a string Vega says, and it's gonna set a color. This is just for a visual mock-up for the hot display thingy. Yeah. So going back to this part, we set a random number here, and random is the only one we need over a display. So we set a random number, which is 1. Now we're gonna go here and say set a string, and the string is called old. So we're gonna set a old string, and the old string is going to become the value of string, which we set in the beginning of the map, which is begin of file. So old string is will become begin of file. It gets the value begin of file BOF. Then we're gonna set the string, and we're setting it with the value dash, which basically means nothing. So string is nothing. So old string is begin of file, string is nothing. I could just leave this away and have this one, but for the completion of everything and to keep everything nice and tidy, and this way I know what's going on. I can add some breakpoints here so that if something goes wrong, basically I know where it is going wrong. So I'm setting the string to 0, so I'm just deleting the string. Relay. Now we're going to go to set new. The new string will become the random value of the random number, so in this case 1. So new is becoming 1. So new is 1, old is begin of file. Now we're going to create our string, which has 2 parts. It is old and new. Simple as that. Old, begin of file, string separator is a comma, 1. So the string at this point is begin of file 1. We're gonna delete everything that's in the old string. We're gonna delete everything that's in the new string. We don't need those two anymore. We're gonna set the random number back to 0. This is again just for the mockup for the head-up display. We don't need it. So if everything is done, we're going to toggle the hitboxes, which basically is just a boolean which sets the hitboxes to either true or false. And if they're true, you can shoot at the box, and if they're false, you can't. You can shoot at them, but it won't register anything. So now basically we can shoot, or the player can shoot at the box, and it will register anything. So basically, player is up right here. We're gonna start a timer. The timer is going to be 3 seconds at this point. So the player has 3 seconds to hit a box. Let me see if I can. Let's go fast and go there. So player is here, and I have 3 seconds to shoot a box. So I'm gonna shoot red because we know it is red, and we can. Oh, sorry. We can't remember one value, so red, we're gonna shoot at red. Red. So what happens when you shoot at red and damaged? It sets this value block of function block 1 to true. So, and these functions are over here, which we have a function block 1, a function block 2, a function block 3, and a function block 4. So every time when we hit a block, it being green, red, green, blue, or yellow, something will happen. And what will happen is the damage new, which is basically the same as the string new, but this is the damage new, and damage because the player does it. You could also name a user new or whatever, but I did damage new. Damage new is becoming 1. Because I hit the red one, we know damage new is going to become 1. Then we're going to go and call upon the function set damage, which is over here. And basically this is the same also as the strings. So damage old will become the damage, which we have set over here in the begin of map file, which is begin of file. So begin of damage old will become begin of file. Then we're going to build the damage because this has an input delay of 1. And we're going to build it with 2 things, old and new, damage old and damage new, damage old being begin of file, damage new becoming 1 because we hit a red box. So string damage basically is now begin of file, 1, and we're just gonna delete everything that is in new and old so that we have a fresh start. So now damage is begin of file, 1. Which incidentally is the same as string, because string was also begin of file, 1. So we have the timer here. We're going back to this part of the thing, and the timer is finished because the 3 seconds is up, and we're gonna go compare. And what do you know? We're gonna compare the string to the damage. In this case, we hit red, so it is true. It is true. We're gonna delete everything in the damage file. So we're just gonna set damage is begin of file, and we're gonna add some scores, which you can add or not. It really doesn't matter. I'm not gonna go into that one anymore. Then we're just gonna call upon this relay, and when this relay is signaled, it will signal this relay, and we're gonna start all over again. So we're gonna go to random. Random is blah 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 blah. Let's say random is 2. Now turn is becoming 2. Here we add something to the new one. We're gonna set the old string to the string, which now is begin of file, 1. So old is begin of file, 1. String becomes nothing. New, well, is the new random number, which in this case is 2. So we're going to build a new string, which is the old string, begin of file, comma 1, comma, because it's a separation, and then we're going to add new file, which is 2, comma 2. So new string is begin of file 1, comma 2. And we're going to start it all over again. And because every time we hit these blocks, we're going to add to new, and we're going to write a new string. When we shoot red, new is it will become 1. So we have the damage basically is begin of file, comma 1. So we shoot 1, so begin of file, comma 1. Then we shoot 3 blue, so we become, oh no, green, we had 2, so it will become begin of file, comma 1, comma 2. And after the time is up, we're just gonna compare them both to each other, and yeah, they're gonna match up and we win. If they don't match up, we end the game. This is the hard mode, which is pretty easy. You just write 2 strings, you write 3 strings, an old file, a new file, and a file, and you compare the file of the AI vega here in this case to the you're going to compare that to the file of the user, which in this case is now damage. So you're going to compare the string and the damage to each other, and if they match up, you win. If they don't, you lose. Pretty simple. Alright, that's why this is hard, because we're gonna set the damage every time we're going to set it to begin of file. So we're going to erase everything, and we only adding 1 extra random number to the string. It doesn't read this string, it just adds 1 to the string, and this is going to compare the strings we made. Yeah, but Simon Says doesn't work like this. Simon Says works like Simon says blue, then you hit blue, and if it's correct, then a new loop will start. It says Simon says blue red, and then you hit blue and red. Well, the hitting part is the same, but the Simon Says part is different. It says blue and red, and it says its entire sequence, and I couldn't figure out how to do that. So that's why I came up with this solution, which I'm calling the Simon Says or the Vega memory banks. Yeah, so what this does is it writes a entire it writes an entire memory of Vega's turns. It is random every single time we play it, but every loop and every turn we take is already pre-written. So we basically at turn 1 we already know what Simon says at turn 50. The reason why there are 50 is because, well, you can see in the top left, network is already 98.66%. I can't add anything else to it. I know I can tone it down a little bit and add some extra memory banks, but at this point it's just limited to 50. And I need to work on it. I need to streamline it, but for now 50 is fine. If you go to 50 turns, I think you're done. You could step up to hard mode and try 50 turns on that one. So basically 50 turns in normal mode. Yeah. When we begin the game, when you go to normal mode, when you start the normal mode up, this is here. You're going to set the timer, which is basically the same as what you did in the hard mode. You're going to set a turn loop, which is new, which we need for the reading part. And we're just going to say start an integer called turn. And we're going to say we're going to set the right vega memory function to true, which is this. So basically when we start the game, we're just setting this all up and we're writing the entire memory. Then we show some messages, blah 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 blah, and then we start the round, which is going to be here. Start a round. We're going to add something to the score, which is totally irrelevant at this point. We're going to say start round is string round, which is here, string round, which is becoming 1, so round 1. And then this is functions Vega speaks. The reason there's a boolean filter here, because I wanted to make a different one here for the hard mode, but somehow it all got tangled up and stuff and didn't work anymore. So I stuck to my old plan, and that works. Okay. Vega speaks. It will call upon the function Vega speaks, which is here. Vega speaks. And when we get here, we're just gonna compare two integers with each other, and those integers are turn and turn loop. Turn loop is 0. We set it to 0. Turn is 1 because at the beginning of the game we set it, and we add stuff to every turn. So turn is turn 1, and the turn loop is 0. So no, they're not equal. So not equal is here. Then we're gonna add 1 to the turn loop. So they're not equal. We're gonna set them to equal. Then we're gonna call upon a sequencer, and the index of the sequencer is turn loop. So we know on turn loop 1 we're gonna call index 1, turn loop 2 we're gonna call index 2. That way we always call upon the first memory bank, which I'll explain later on. But okay, just say change index to the turn loop, which is 1 at this point. Signal the sequencer. We're gonna go to number 1, which is this one. They're all added in sequence, so this one is added first, and that one over there all the way is added like 50th. Yeah. So we're gonna set through this boolean or this function. It's called Vega says 1. Okay. I could have joined this one with this one. Saves up 8% or so of memory or network. I didn't do that because of the fact that in the early version I had only 10 numbers, and this was kind of more of a I had a better overview what's going on when I did it like this, so I kept it like this. I could just say turn is true and go straight here, but I left it like this. Doesn't really matter, you can do whatever you want. So I left it like this. Anyways, Vega says 1, which is all the way over here. What happens when Vega says 1? Alright, we're gonna do a couple of things. We're gonna set a integer. Oh no, we're gonna compare an integer, sorry. That says toggle Vega says 1. If that toggle is 2, then we're not going to do anything. But if it's not 2, which it isn't, because we haven't defined it, which is 1, then we're going to add 1 to the toggle, which we just want to check. So at this point, Vega toggle is 1. Now we're going to go integer compare this one. Vega says 1. Toggle Vega says 1. So we just made it 1. If it is 1, yes it is. Nice. We're going to set the string new to, you guessed it, Vega 1. And Vega 1 is this memory bank we already have written here. Alright, so for this purpose say 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's call the first 4 memory banks 1, 2, 3, 4. So Vega 1 is 1. So new is becoming 1. We're also gonna call upon the function setStrings. And that function is over here. And basically it really does the same thing as the hard mode. It sets an old file or an old string and it gives it the variable string, which we have set in the beginning of the map to begin a file. So old is begin a file. We're gonna set the string to write string here, just to have it a because it could take a while. We go set write string so that we know that it's writing a string. So basically it's 0. Then we're gonna build the string again, and we're gonna build it with, you guessed it, old and new. Old is begin a file, string separator is comma, new we set it in Vega says 1 is 1. So basically string becomes begin of file 1 over this at this point. And we're gonna kill old and we're gonna kill new again. So we only have string now, and that is 1. Of course there's also play the sounds and function play sounds. So play sounds becomes Vega 1, which is the value of Vega 1. And here we need play sounds because we're gonna use it time over and over again, and we want to add a different yeah, we want to add a different value to it every time. So set the integer to vega 1, so play sounds is now 1. And we're going to go to the function play sounds, which does the same thing in hard mode. Only difference is when it's done playing the sound, when it's done saying red, it calls upon the function vega speaks again. The reason why only the normal mode can do this is because we have a boolean filter in this little chain which says if the function game mode normal, which we set true on in the beginning of normal mode, is true, we can do this. And in hard mode we didn't say normal mode is true, so it's gonna call upon this function again. I need to take a sip of water. Yeah, because my throat is still itching. So it's gonna call upon this function again. We're gonna test the integer, which says turn, or turn is the same as turn loop, which it is. Because we set the turn loop to 1 at this point, and we are at turn 1, it is true. Player's turn is now up. You're the player. So now, basically the same as the hard mode, we're setting some stuff. We're hitting the, we are enabling the hitboxes. We have the timer. We're string comparing, and we're disabling the hitboxes again. And now there is one difference in this little chain, and that is this one. It says if turn is the same as end of game. If it's not, we'll just go to end of turn, and we're just gonna set this this function to false. If it is, we're ending the game in a victory. But this one is crucial because end of game is 50. We have 50 rounds, so we can only do 50 turns. So you could just change this to whatever, 10 or 20 if you just want to go less. You just can put it in a hard 50 if you know it's going to be 50 turns, but I just wanted to have a variable that I can tweak around with and didn't have to change variables in different places. So nope, turn isn't the same as the end of game, because turn is 1 and end of game is 50. We're gonna go to end of turn. End of turn is here. You're gonna set true. We're gonna add the score to 1. We're gonna set we're gonna add some time to the number, to the timer. We're gonna reset the turn loop. We're gonna add 1 to the turn, because the next turn is gonna be turn 2, and turn loop is gonna become 0. And then we're gonna go call upon the start round function again, and basically what it does is go vega speak again. So the loop is complete over here. Round 2, same thing. We're just gonna test if the turn loop is the same as turn. Turn is this time is 2. No, add 1. So turn loop is 1, turn is 2. We're gonna call upon the index 1, and we're gonna write the string. So this is why I had this on here, because we're gonna call upon 1 first, and it asks if vega toggle is 1 or is 2. It isn't, it's 1, because I set it here to 1. No, it isn't. We're gonna set it to 2. Alright, now it's 2. Now we're gonna test this one. We're gonna say, is that toggle 1? No, it isn't. So we're not gonna write a new string. We're just gonna say the color is vega 1, and we're gonna play that color. And that is why we can kind of read the entire string at this point, because we're not doing anything. We're not writing stuff here. So we're just playing red, because we know it is red. We're gonna play red and set true. And then we're gonna go over to after we play the sounds, we're gonna come back to the vega stuff again, and the vega speak stuff again, and we're gonna test this again. No, it is still not the same. Turn loop is still 1, turn is still 2. It's not equal. We're gonna set 1 to, we're gonna add 1 to the turn loop, so it's just becoming 2. We're gonna change the index to number 2. We're gonna call upon vega says 2, and we're gonna go through this one. Vega says 2. And now vega says 2. First we're gonna do an integer compare. Is vega says 2 toggle, which is this. Is it 2? No, it is 0. So no, we're gonna go here. We're gonna add 1 to the vega says toggle. So we're going to compare it again. Is vega says to toggle is if it is 1? Yes, it is 1. So we're going to write the string new. Vega 2, which is this one, will become 2. And so new is 2. Yeah, new is 2. And we're going to write the string. Because the string is still begin of file, comma 1. At this point, old will become begin of file, comma 1. String is nothing, and we're gonna write again begin of file. We're gonna write again the string by using two parts, being old and new. Old is begin of file, comma 1. New is 2, so string separated in between. So it becomes string becomes begin of file, comma 1, comma 2. And after that, we're gonna go back to the vega speak function again, and then we're gonna test if it is true. The turn loop is 2, yes, and the player is up. Alright, so basically that's it. Basically this is the entire engine to my map vega says. Yes, I know it is somewhat overdone. Like, I could integrate this one with that one, saves up some space. I thought about doing this in a sequencer, which saves up space again, and then I would need all of this, so I just need one sequencer or two sequencer. And I think I can do this with a couple of better tricks. That way we could add more memory slots. I fiddled around with it and did some stuff, but the end results weren't all that great, so I left it like this. And you know what? I think 50 turns is more than enough. If you have 50 turns, you deserve to win. And if you want to have a challenge, you just go to hard mode, because hard mode has no limit. It will go on and on and on and on until you eventually muck it up and yeah, shoot a wrong cube, and then the game will end. But yeah, basically this is the entire setup, how you could write a string predefined, even though it's random, read it out and check it with the user input, or check it towards the user input. That's it. Basically it's very easy. I mean, it's not that hard. No, it's not hard. You just need to follow a couple of steps. Alright, I really hope it is I made myself a little bit clear. I hope I explained stuff a little bit. This is the first walkthrough of a map I did, so it is kind of a yeah, it's kind of difficult for the first time to try to explain my train of thought here. So if you guys have any comments, remarks, or anything, if you say Innersphere, please do it differently, you could do it like this or whatever, put them down below in the comment section. I'm sure to read them. I always read my comments. Yeah, I love to hear from you guys. If you have different ways, if you have better ways, or if you made something with what I made here, I'd love to see it. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, drop me a like. If you did, be free to hit that dislike button if you didn't like it. I'm just gonna play around, I guess. Vega says, and I'm going to wish you all a nice day, and hope to yeah, that's so funny. I hope you guys have a nice day. Hope to see you, or hope you'll look at my next videos. And right, yeah, that's it. So goodbye, cheers, mates, and bye bye.